times. Service. I will do good things for others without being asked. Excellence. I will strive for excellence in all things. Perseverance. I will fulfill commitments and not give up or act on discouragement. Please join me for a moment of silence. Okay, well, let's get started on some phonogram review this morning. Hope you have a whiteboard handy and marker.
Miss Gord.
Hi, Harika, sweetheart, I need you to take out your whiteboard and marker. We're getting ready for phonogram review now. Okay, let's begin by writing the phonogram oo-u that we do use at the end of English words. So Harika, we're going to hold off on other questions if it's not about the phonograms, okay? Great job, Tig. Oo-u that we do use at the end of English words is our first one. Here's Sahanasri. Next, please write oo-u that we do not use at the end of English words. Good morning, Sahanasri.
Good morning.
Oh, and finally, here's Arianch as well. Now we'll have everybody. We're doing phonogram review, so you can take out your whiteboard and marker. Oo-u that we do not use at the end of English words. Next, please write the phonogram earthier of hurt. Earthier of hurt. Hurt, like I hurt my knee. We used to call this one earthier of nurse. Right there. Next, write the phonogram earthier of bird. Good morning, Arianch. Earthier of bird. Marcus and Rishith, please hold up your board after each phonogram. I should see you writing each one and holding it up when you're done. Earthier of bird. And the last one for today, earthier of worms. Marcus and Rishith, I should see all of these phonograms on your board. Oo-u that we do use at the end of English words. Oo-u that we do not. Thank you so much, Rishith. Earthier of hurt, earthier of bird, and earthier of worms. Here's all 5 for today. Great job, Marcus. Okay, time for some spelling words to review, and I want to specifically focus on the words that end with ants and ints today. We had a lot of words that end with the ints ending, and one that ends with the ants ending. And as a general rule, if it already ends with E, then we're going to use the ints ending. For example, interference. Can you write interference? Interference. Now, interfere already ends with an E, so that's why we're making it the ence ending. Arshab, could you write interference? Good. Interference. Waiting for a few others to hold them up. Good. We're using that ence ending, interference. Okay. Next, please write patience. Now, patient already ends with, it has an E in that last syllable. So we also need an E in the last syllable when it changes to patience. Patience. Interference, patience. Hold it up when you're done with patience. Okay, and Kruti, you're so close for interference. We're going to start with an I, though, and Samhita as well. Interfere. We start with an I for both interfere and interference. So I was trying to point out that the last syllable has an E. Good. Interference and patience. Now, one more from the list, and same with you, Sahanasri, interference starts with an I. One more that has this ence ending from our list is reverence. Reverence. Harika, can you check my board to make sure yours matches mine? So reverence, every vowel should be an E in that one. Just like revere and reverent. Every vowel should be an E in reverence. Arshad, please write it and hold it up when you're done. Reverence. Okay, Arshad, I should see all of these words. Very good. So reverence is the last one with that ence ending. Now, the other word that has a similar ending is ignorance. But with that one, we need the ants ending because ignorant also ends with an A in that last syllable. Ignorant and ignorance. So please write ignorance. Instead of E-N-C-E, it should be A-N-C-E in that last syllable. Great job, Alina and Aryansh and Kruti. Everyone please hold up ignorance. So we should have interference, patience, reverence, and ignorance. Okay, you're very close, Emma, but you've got an extra syllable in there. So sound out ignorance. And remove those letters that we don't say. Should be just ignorance. Okay, Marcus and Alexander, hold up your boards. Let me see all 4 of these words. Great job, Alexander. Okay. Parika, you spelled interference and reverence correctly. Great job. Ignorance and patience, though, should have the same ending with that CE. Not TS at the ending, but CE at the end. Okay, those are all of the 4 words that are really similar. But remember, for ignorance, it should be ignore ants. That's the only one with the ANCE ending. Perfect, Tarika. Okay, that's all for our spelling review today. At this time, let's take out your binder for a new spelling lesson. Tig, is your mom going to be back in time for your birthday?
She gets back tomorrow. So she gets back the day before my birthday.
Okay.
And we're going to Devil's Den.
Over the weekend or on Friday specifically?
On Friday.
That's great. Are you going to do it right after class is over?
Yeah. And the last time we went, all of us went. Can you hear me?
Yes, but you're cutting in and out a little bit.
And we couldn't stop, even though I really wanted to climb on things and stuff. So this time, they're just taking me. So this time, Mom and Dad are just taking me, and we get to take.
And not your sisters.
Whatever we want.
Oh, that's great. Oh, Kruthi, your little brother ran away. I know it's his birthday. Can everybody unmute themselves to say happy birthday to Kruthi's little brother?
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Little brother.
Okay, everyone, mute yourselves now. That's so sweet.
All right, I'm muted. Am I
Happy
muted?
birthday to Kruthi's little brother. Okay, let's start on our new spelling lesson now. The first word for today's lesson is desirable. Going along with the last word from yesterday's lesson, desire. Desirable is an adjective meaning something that you would desire. You could say that for Tig, it's desirable to have a hike without his sisters there, right? It's desirable because he would like that very much. He wants to have the opportunity to climb as much as he wants. Okay, so desirable has the able suffix that we're going to add to this, and we need to drop our silent final E before we add that able suffix. Can you sound it out with me? Desirable or desirable. Desirable. 4 syllables. First syllable, E is in an open syllable saying its name. Second syllable, Z, I says its name in an open syllable. And then A is in an open syllable saying its name. And finally, we have the but-ol suffix with a silent final E, job 4, to make sure we have a written vowel. Okay? Desirable. Would you sound it out as you write it? Desirable. Okay. Desirable. D-E, syllable break. Z-I, syllable break. R-A, syllable break. B-ul, silent final E. Desirable. If you made any mistakes, please cross it out and rewrite it. And Alexander, would you unmute yourself to tell us the markings in the word? Alexander?
Is that better?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Sorry. It was like you did it on here, so I think you underline the the open syllable D, and then underline I.
Good. We're also going to put a 2 on top of the S. It says a Z sound. Desirable.
Let me see. Something goes with the A.
Mm-hmm. There's an open
Maybe
syllable, but what sound is it saying?
desire. So I guess a thinking cap.
You're right. Yeah, it says an sound, so thinking cap. And finally, what do we do for the last syllable?
So we double underline, and it's a job 1.
A job 4 is what we need for a written vowel in a syllable.
Okay, hold on.
It's the only written vowel. And we'll underline the D and L since they're the reason for that silent final E. Now, Alexander, do you know what part of speech it is with that able suffix?
Noun.
No.
No.
Here's an example sentence. There's a desirable hike awaiting Tig on Friday. What kind of hike? Desirable. It's what he desired.
I really want to say adjective.
You're right. Adjective. It's modifying a noun, saying something that you want, basically.
Okay.
Okay, great job, Alexander. Our next word is extreme. Would you all say extreme? Extreme. What does extreme mean? You've probably heard this lots of times before. What could you describe as something that's extreme? Harika?
Like, I know what it means, but I just can't explain it.
There could be an extreme battle that King Arthur finds himself in.
Or extreme tornado.
An extreme tornado is one that might cause a lot of damage, right? Mm-hmm. Emma?
Extremely.
Good. To turn it into an adverb, we'd say extremely. Like, oh, it's extremely cold outside. It means just everything to the next level. So whatever it is that you're describing, when you use the word extreme, it says it's like the next level of cold or dangerous. Or there's an extremely fuzzy blanket. It's next level fuzzy. Whatever it is, you're just saying it's a level up. So extreme. Would you say it with me? Extreme. 2 syllables. One more time. Everybody sound it out with me. Extreme. 2 syllables. In the first syllable, it's X. That's the phonogram X in that syllable. Next syllable, T, E, M. 4 syllables. Extreme. E says its name because of a silent final E, job 1 in this word. Please pick up your pencil and write extreme. Marcus, come on, write the word extreme. Lift up your head, bud. Great job. Extreme. X, syllable break. T, E, M. Silent final E makes E say its name. Marcus, could you go through the markings for us?
Underline the EX because it's a
So we're going to underline E because it says its name. Extreme.
Yes.
What about this?
It's the silent E that goes at the end.
Good. So what do we do to silent final E's?
What do we do to silent final E's? We underline them.
Double underline. And it's a job 1 for making a vowel say its name. So let's put a little 1 there. And what about the M?
The M. One sec, my mom's calling me.
Let's underline this M because it's part of the vowel consonant vowel pattern. Now this is used to modify a noun. Like there was an extreme thunderstorm. What part of speech is that? Samhita?
Adjective is a part of speech.
Nice. Or, according to our new definition with roots, it's a word thrown at a noun. Let's throw that extreme on something to modify it. I'm going to throw some extreme on this paper. Just throw it at that noun to modify it. Okay, time for our next 2 words, which will go together. Okay, starting with the word image. Would you say image?
Image.
An image is like a picture, right? Could ask you on Bright Thinker to upload an image of your quiz or your science page on the dwarf planets. That just means a picture. Image. Sound out image with me, which we think to spell in age. In that unstressed syllable, it says a sound, but we should say image. Image, 2 syllables. First syllable, basic code. Second syllable, age, 2 sounds. J is g, j, saying its second sound because of a silent final E. So age, like what your age is. That's the second syllable. Pick up your pencil to write image. Image. A says its name just because of that silent final E. So there's really 2 jobs for this silent final E. Please hold up your paper to the camera when you're done. So I can see your work so far. Thanks, Josiah. Thanks, Tig, Alexander, and Alina. Alina, I'm so impressed that you know some of the markings before we go over them. Yes, Dikshita?
We can write image in cursive.
Oh my goodness, that would be a good one to do when it's cursive time. So let's not do it in cursive now because when we do spelling time, it's not in cursive, but that is a wonderful idea when it's time to do some cursive for review. Okay, so syllable break, age, silent final E, image. Ariane, would you tell us the markings in the word?
So the first syllable is basic code. Put a thinking cap over the A, underline it. Double underline silent final E, job number 1 and 3. Put a 2 over the G and underline it.
Very good. Job 1 and 3. Perfect. That is all of the markings. Quite a lot for that little short word. Now, an image is a noun. If we want to turn it into a verb to say, basically, make a picture in your mind. So image is a picture. Does anybody know what the word might be if we make it a verb? That's like to make a picture in your mind. Samhita?
Imagine.
Perfect. Imagine. So let's write that one next. Imagine is going to be imag. And then in the next syllable, imagine, which we think to spell imagine because we've got a silent final E at the end of the word. Okay? Please write imagine, but add a silent final E to the end of it. Tig, what were you saying about it?
I was just thinking of Imagine Dragons.
Oh, do you like that band?
Yeah.
Nice. It looks like Sahanasri does too.
I like Imagine Dragons and Fallout Boy. Those two bands.
My
Cool.
my three favorites, one of which none of you have heard, probably none of you have heard of. I really like Fallout Boy, The Score, which is the one most of you have probably never heard of, and then I also like Fallout Boy.
The Score. Yep, I've never heard of them before. Anybody else? Okay, let's write imagine. Syllable break. Syllable break. Silent final E. Imagine. For markings, 2 on top of that, just saying its second sound because of that I after it. That's why it says a second sound. And this is a vowel consonant vowel pattern for the silent final E, even though we say imagine. So we'll actually put a thinking cap over it as well, since it doesn't say the normal vowel saying its name. All right, this is a verb. And that's all of our spelling for today. Although, good point from Dikshita that we could actually write this in cursive and imagine in cursive. So now that we're starting to know more and more of our letters, we'll do that during our cursive review time more. Okay, taking a little break from handwriting, though, or from just writing in general, let's do a little poetry before we start our cursive. Now, who practiced Father William yesterday? Good. We are going to have a chance for 2 more people to be father and son for the poem today. Who would like to try it out, father and son? Okay, I would love for today, let's have Harika and Alexander as father and son. What would you all prefer? Do you want to be father or son, Harika?
Son. Neither. All right.
Alexander, are you good with being the father?
That's fine.
Okay, I'm going to present my screen and you all can say it along with them as long as you're muted. So we start with the son. So Harika, you'll do the first stanza and Alexander, and we'll go back and forth.
You're old, Father William, the young man said, and your hair has become very white, and yet you
incessantly. Can you say that with me, Harika? Incessantly
stand on your head. Do you think at your age it's right?
In my youth, said Father. Wait, am I muted again? All right, no. In my youth, said Father William, replied to his son, I fear I might injure the brain, but now that I'm perfectly sure I have none, but I can do it again and again.
You're old, said the youth, as a mentioned before, and you have grown most uncommonly fat, yet you turn a back somersault in at the door. Pray, what is the reason for that?
In my youth, said the sage as he shook his gray locks, I kept all my limbs very supple by the use of the ointment. 1 shekel the box. Allow me to sell you a couple.
You're old, said the youth, and your jaws are too weak for anything tougher than suet, yet you finished a goose with the bones and its beak. Pray, how do you manage to do it?
In my youth, said his father, I took the law and argued each case with my wife. And muscular strength, which gave me my jaw, has lasted the rest of my life.
You are old, said the youth. One would hardly suppose that your eyes were steady as ever. Yet you blinked balanced an eel on the end of your nose. What made you so awfully clever?
Good.
I have answered 3 questions, and that's enough, said his father. Don't give yourself to air. Don't think I can listen to such stuff. Sorry, all day to such stuff. Be off, or I'll kick you downstairs.
Nice job. Let's give him a hand.
Good job, everybody.
Yay!
Alexander, you might want to try to move the microphone a little further away from your mouth.
Oh,
Can you
great.
try talking again?
Is that better? Okay.
Yes, that is better. Thank you. Okay, here are some pictures to show you each of these back and forth. You know, we start with the son saying, "You're so fat, how can you stand on your head?"
You're so
Or
old.
basically, even though you're so old, you're standing on your head. And he says, "It's because I don't have a brain, so I'm not going to injure it." Then we've got a back somersault here. Oh, goodness. He said, "You've grown most uncommonly fat. How are you able to do a back somersault in at the door?" And he says, "In my youth, I kept all my limbs very supple. He kept them strong and lean because of a special ointment." Does it make sense that there's a special cream that allows him to do a somersault like that? That's crazy. And then he says, "You are so old, your jaws are too weak for anything tougher than suet," which is like the fat of meat. So it's really soft. But how could you finish a whole goose with the bones and the beak? There's the whole goose. And he says, "It's because I've been arguing with my wife all the time, so my jaw is really strong. Because I'm arguing all the time with her." And then here he is balancing an eel on the tip of his nose. Wow. Does he give an answer for this one? Nope. What does he say instead, Emma?
He says, he already answered 3 questions, so he's not going to answer another one.
Yes. He says, "I've answered 3 questions. That's enough. Don't give yourself airs," meaning don't be too proud of yourself and think too much of yourself. "Be off or I'm going to kick you down the stairs," he says. Okay, so we'll continue practicing that this week. Great job to Harika and Alexander. And yes, that's right, Tig. It's a fun one to act out and be really lively with this one. So you can do kicking downstairs like that. What?
That Father William dude is out of his mind.
He is crazy, isn't he?
I mean, how do your jaws get strong just by arguing with your wife?
That does make sense.
Does not make sense, no. Okay.
Well, when you talk.
Well, let's get started. That's right. Well, talking definitely works out your jaw, but I don't think they'd be that strong.
I argue with my sister and it doesn't help my jaw.
Oh, Josiah, you've got some fun toys over there. Is it Father William and the son back and forth? That's a really fun idea. You could use 2 stuffed animals to act out the part if you're practicing at home. We've got a son and a Father William and act it out between them. Great idea. Or Legos, if you like Legos. Oh yeah, I see Tig doing that now. Okay, time for some cursive. Are you guys ready to learn a few new letters? Oh, Rishith, you've got Legos right next to you. That's fun. Okay, so we are going to be learning the letter Z in cursive, and we're going to be learning some tall line letters, getting above the middle dotted line. So if you've got your cursive paper, you can take it out now. Aryansh, your handwriting is so impeccable. Yes, Deekshita?
In Miss Cannibal's video, that she already wrote the letters Z and S.
Yes, and we did S yesterday, but like I said in class, we're doing Z today.
Okay.
Okay, boys and girls, time for us to start our new letters. So I need you to take out your cursive paper. Okay, time for us to do the letter Z, which is one of the ones that looks the most different from print. And it's possible that some of you did it if you also watched Mrs. Campbell's video yesterday. If so, this is just a review for you. So for the letter Z, we are going to start with the connecting stroke like for the letter A. That's how we begin it. Okay, so we're going to start with this connecting stroke, and then we drop it down, kind of coming in a little bit. Actually, just one moment. Oh, sorry. I am remembering my way of doing this cursive Z. This one's a little bit different. Just a moment. Let me get the specifics of it. It's going to have actually a point at the top like we've been doing for the U. I forgot that they do it this way. It's quite different. So we start at the bottom baseline and swing up, moving in the direction we read and write, stopping at the middle dotted line, and then continue making the stroke like a cursive S where we trace it down a little bit. But just before touching the initial swing up line curve, around making a small loop, as the loop is completed, pull a curved line down below the bottom baseline. So we're going to kind of come in like this S, make a little tiny loop, and then we make a tail like a G, exactly like a G. And come up through that bottom baseline. Okay, so I'll do that again. So we start like an S, but don't come all the way over. Instead, make a tiny loop and then do a tail like a G. So start like the S. And yes, Alina, that's the way I learned it, with more of a curve like this. But our way of writing it has a point at the top. Okay? I learned it that way as well, but this is the way our handbook has us do it. Kind of like an S and then a little tail. I think it's easiest to remember it like the S and then a loop and a tail. But this is the way that I did a Z, and that lots of handbooks would have you do it with a curve at the top. Okay, that one might need more practice, but also we don't use Z's in cursive very often. So it might be something that instead of putting it with other letters and doing it with a lot of words, you'll just have to practice it on its own.
What if you connected the letter Z?
So if I have an O to a Z, like the Wizard of Oz, it looks like that. Oh, and I am sorry, once again, I made it curvy at the top because that's what I'm used to. It should be a point at the top though. Or if I write zoo, it would look like this. Okay. Now time for a few new letters. These are going to be much simpler. The Z, S, and R are the ones that you might think of as the trickiest ones because they're so different. Today's are going to be very similar to manuscript writing. All right, let's begin with the letter T. For the letter T, we start with a swing up like we've been doing, but we're going to go all the way up to the top baseline. And then we trace our line back down before we swing back out. and then we cross just barely above the middle dotted line. That's the letter T. Just like the X and I and J, anything where we cross or dot it, we would do that at the end of writing the whole word. So if I were to write the word to, I wait to cross it until the very end. There's the letter T. So swing up all the way to the top baseline, trace it back, and then come out. There's the letter T.
We can write cat.
Sweetheart, you can't unmute yourself without permission. Thank you. This is the only lowercase letter with this tall swoop. All of the others that we're going to do are going to have some loops. But this one, we trace it back, so it's just a tall line. Okay. Now, for the letter L, it's going to start in the same way, but we'll loop it. So we have a tall swing up, and then we curve a little to the left and make a loop coming down and crossing just a little above the bottom baseline. It looks just like the E, but it's taller. Practice some of the T's and L's. Arshav, I should see you writing, even if it is just review. If you've learned these letters, you can practice some words. Yes, Samhita?
We can write the word love.
Oh, great idea. Love, L-O-V-E. Should look kind of like that. Beautiful, isn't it? So let's go ahead and do the last letter, and then we'll practice some words that we can create. Our last letter for today is H, and we'll start with the same tall line, curving to the left a little bit, and then go straight down, and without picking your pencil up, we trace it up and curve from the clock to 12 and then over to about 1 or 2 on the clock before coming down, and there's the letter H. So make a loop, but you go straight down and then trace it to make a little hump like with the N. Yes, Emma?
I can't see. It's at the bottom of.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so we're going to make a loop like the L, but go straight down and then trace it up and make a little hump like the N. There's the H. So all the way up to the top baseline, curve to the left, go straight down, trace it, and make a hump. Harika? Come on, Marcus.
Wait a minute. We can write my name.
Nice.
Because it's H-A-R-I-K.
Oh, you can't do a K, though. That's the only thing. Here's the word hope. We could write hope. We could also write some spelling words, image and imagine. Love, hope, imagine. Write a few words. We won't have time for us to do everything that you can think of, but write a few words. And this is a great thing to do with extra time throughout the day outside of our class time. Alexander?
I think now I have all the words to spell Alexander.
Nice. Let's practice Alexander. Oops. Didn't go all the way to the top. Alexander.
Yep.
Alexander.
Miss Garner,
Yes?
could you walk me through the H again?
Yes.
Because I'm trying to write A New Hope, the Star Wars movie.
Oh, perfect. I just watched that last night. Okay, so here's H. Swing up all the way to the top. Loop it a little to the left and then go straight down. And then trace it back and make this hump like that. So let's write A New Hope. Oh, you guys are doing so well. I'd love to see everything that you're writing so far. Once you are done with a word, can you hold up your paper so I can see your progress?
I wrote A New Hope, Riot, Lot, and yesterday for the review, I wrote mine, and some of them are imaginary words. Mine, Jin, Pin, Yin, Win, and Desire. Well,
Wow, these all look great.
The desire part was after
Our spelling word.
Well, yeah, and my dad even got me a cookie for having better cursive handwriting than him.
Oh, that's a nice.
My favorite cookies.
Very nice prize. Samhita, I can see that you've written your name now. I'd love to see that. Oh, that's beautiful. You all have such great handwriting. Sahanasri, I'm pinning. Ty, you need to have permission before you unmute. Sahanasri, can you hold it up a little higher? Very nice. Well done, sweetheart. Marcus, Arshad, can I see your progress? Yes, Dikshita?
I just need the letter K.
Oh, yes, so close
my
to being
name.
able to write your name. We will tomorrow. We'll have it by tomorrow. Josiah, can you hold it a little closer? Nicely done. Great job, Risha. Yep, remember for all of these that we come all the way to the top baseline. I mean, to the top line. T, L, and H. Great job, Arshab. Okay, this is all for cursive today. We have some roots and orthography next. We'll take out 2 new index cards for roots. Ariane, you can write your name now. That looks great. Let me actually show you real quick how to connect the S to the H. Ari-anch. Like that. Okay, I know that some of you have other things to share with cursive, but we've got to move on to roots now. So please take out 2 new index cards. Okay, our next two words for today, which I'm actually just going to write here on the paper, are admire and advertise. Who knows what the word admire means? Tig? Marcus, I need you to follow along, but it looks like you have been not doing all the work today. Please take out 2 index cards.
It means like look up to something. And also, I wrote my full name in cursive.
Oh, great job.
Tig Nelson Mannion. Yes.
That is a great feeling. Yes, we are going to be reviewing on Friday, and I hope that all of you will be able to write your own names in cursive, because by Friday we'll have known all the letters. Okay, but everyone, we're going to hold off on sharing anything for cursive right now. And please take out 2 index cards. Once again, the first word is admire. Dikshita, do you think you know what this word means?
To look at something cool or amazement.
Oh, I think that you worked ahead and already wrote it from Bright Thinker. That's right. Yeah. It is to look at something with wonder or amazement. Has anybody heard of like a secret admirer? It's a person who in secret is looking at you with wonder and amazement. Maybe they've got a little crush. So admire can be used to say like maybe how you would look at the beach or a sunset, right? You might look at amazement at the sky, at constellations. I hope you all admire nature, looking at it with wonder and amazement. So to admire means to look at with wonder and amazement. Marcus, this is our time to write this down. You need to be writing this along with us, bud. I know that there are times when you don't have the cards at all. That's because you should be doing it right now with us.
I ran out of cards and I don't know where my mom keeps all the extra cards.
Marcus, right now, write it on paper. Marcus? Need you to be writing it on paper so that you have these written down. Okay, so the last word for today is advertise. Marcus, I should see you writing right now. If you don't have your cards, that does not mean you can't do the work. Okay, so to advertise means to turn people to what you are offering. So ads on TV or billboards, for example, are designed to make you look at it so that you can buy a certain product. Turn people to what you are offering. It actually comes from Latin, the vert part of this word means to actually turn. Yes, Alexander?
On Miss Campbell's video, she made me do advertise, adjective, admire, adhere, evacuate, admit, and admonish. She made me do it on
Okay,
her
nice
video.
job, Alexander. Once again, I've got that posted, but I like to do it in our class so that we have time to discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just there in case you need to look back. And if you work ahead, that's fine, but I want you to still follow along with this.
Okay.
Great job for those of you who worked ahead and have it all written down so that you can just review right now. Okay, now that is all for roots today. Please take out your orthography notebook at this time to write down the lesson from earlier today. Okay, our first word was desire. Sorry, desirable, to go along with desire. Okay, next we had the word extreme. Extreme. Next is image. And finally, imagine. Okay, that's all for orthography today. We are going to get started on math next. And today is a review of yesterday's lesson. So I would like to go over your homework from yesterday, but also we're going to be doing more problems very similar to what you did. Thumbs up if you felt good about the 3 problems in yesterday's homework. And sideways if you struggled a little bit, or thumbs down if you felt really lost when you were doing the homework yesterday. You had 3 problems to complete. I would love for some people to walk through what they did. And let's begin by just holding up your paper. I'd love to see your homework. Just hold it up to the camera once you take out your workbook. Okay, thank you so much, Dikshita, Aryansh. The pages that you were supposed to do yesterday were 159 and 160. Great job. I'm looking for Arshab, Sahanasri, Harika, Marcus, Ty. Can you find your pages? 159 to 160, and then we're going to go over the answers.
I showed you, but
Oh, okay.
I can't find my book.
they're right here.
Thank you. Marcus and Emma, do you have yours? Sahanasri? Harika, how long have you been missing your book?
I wasn't able to do it yesterday.
Why not?
I'll leave the call and come back. I'll be back in a second. You all are frozen.
Marcus, why were you not able to
Because
complete
usually
it?
dinner takes about 3 hours. Because usually dinner takes 3 hours, and usually I do most of my work near dinner. Well, I do it before. Well, I do most of my work before. So I start after school, and then I do it for an hour. Then I take a break for 30 minutes, and I do it for an hour. Then we eat.
Okay, Marcus, I can tell you are feeling really exhausted. Now, I don't know if this is the case, but maybe it was a little confusing to you because of not taking the notes yesterday. Make sure you are really actively taking the notes today so that you have examples to go off of. That is a lot. So Marcus, look at me. No, look at me. You have to do it during this time, bud. I have to basically teach it twice if you're saying that you're not going to do it now, and I have to email everything to your parents. Is that fair for me to have to teach it 2 times? No, you need to do it this time. Roots, note taking, all of these things you have to do it this time, or else I'm having to do it twice for you. Does that make sense? And that is why it might take longer. Because if you don't have it now, then later on, you're really confused and you don't have the information, and then you can't do the work. All right, so we're going to go over the answers for today. And for today, I will let you fill it in with us. But you have to take the notes on your own. Okay? This is a time when you have to be really focused, pencil in your hand, working the whole time, so that you can do the work independently later. Okay. Okay, I'd love for a few people to talk through how they did these problems, starting with number 1 on page 159. Could I have Rishith explain what he wrote on page 159, number 1? And I should see all of you actively checking your work. And Harika, I should see you writing this down on notebook paper if you don't have your workbook. Rishith, can you tell us what you wrote for number 1?
In the first unit, I wrote 95.
Very good.
And whenever it's 2 units, I wrote 95 times 3.
Mm-hmm.
And it got me 285.
Nice job. Who got the same as Rishith? Nice. So $285 for a new bed. Nice job. Okay, Arshab, could you tell us what you did for number 2 now? Great job, Marcus, for doing the work with us.
So Mr. Suarez drove 98 miles on his vacation this year. He drove 4 times that distance last year. How far did Mr. Suarez drive on his vacation last year? So I drew the bar model with 4 boxes in it.
So there's 1 box for this year, and how many does last year get?
90. This year's 98 miles, so for 1 box it's 98.
Perfect.
So then you draw yeah. So then
So last year, you had already said it. It gets
my bar model is different than yours. Yeah,
okay.
it's like this.
Let me see. I'm pinning your screen. Oh, I can see what you did. Okay. Now you would get the correct answer with that, Arshab. But we should technically have a comparison. We're comparing that this year has 98, and then last year 98 times 4, even though you would get the right answer. So moving forward, can you always do the comparison like this? If there's something that's like 4 times as much.
Okay.
And actually with yours, you can just add on 1 little box either on top or below for this year's amount. You can just add that onto your notebook or your workbook.
Okay.
And Arshab, what did you get as your answer?
392.
Great job. Who got the same? 98 times 4, 392. Okay, great job. And it's really good to go through little mistakes like that. And once again, Arshab got the right answer and everything, and he basically was just doing the last year part. But I do want you to draw out the part that we're comparing with. Could I have Simhi to explain number 3, what she did for that?
So it says school A collects 76 bundles of newspaper. So for school A, I just put an A, and then for the bar model, I just did a small box and then 76 on top. And it says school B collects 5 times the number of bundles as school A. So then I drew 5 boxes, and then I put a question mark on top, and then just for one box it's 76 units. So then I multiplied 76 into 5, which is 6 into 5, 0. And then we put the 3 on top, and then 7 into 5 equals 35, and then 35 plus 3 equals 38. So then it's 380 is the answer. So
Wonderful.
question mark equals 380.
Great job. And I forgot to remind you guys, but we should always have an answer sentence for a word problem. Now, in numbers 1 and 2, they gave you an answer sentence with the blank. For this one, they did not. But give me a thumbs up if you still wrote an answer sentence. Great job, everybody. I'll have Deekshita share what she wrote as an answer sentence. Thank you so much, and great job, everybody, even though I forgot to remind you to still remember that.
For my answer sentence, I said, School B recycles 380 newspapers.
That's great. School B recycles 380 newspapers. Great job, Deekshita. Okay, for these problems, 2 and 3, thumbs up if yours looked like mine and like the ones that Deekshita and Arshab did a great job of walking through. Okay. Thumbs sideways if you made a couple of mistakes. For example, made it a part whole rather than comparison. Or thumbs down if you had a really hard time with it and maybe yours do not look like mine at all. Okay, looks like most of you did really well with this. I'd like to go through a few more problems in your math notebook now. And we're basically looking at these exact same problems again. So if you were a little confused, hopefully today is going to make it really make sense because we're going through the same format of these comparison. We're comparing things. Here's 1 unit, and then somebody else has maybe 5 times as many or 4 times as many. So the same model over and over again. So would you take out your math notebook? And I'll have a couple of people walk through steps in some problems that we'll do today. So this is part 2 of lesson 9.1. Has anybody had a hard time with just the part of it where you're multiplying, getting the right answer for that? Thumbs up if you're feeling good about those. Just multiplication problems with 2 or 3 digits. Okay. Okay. Everyone hold up their notebook for a moment so I can see you're ready for note taking. Excellent. Great job, Marcus and Arianch. Great job, Josiah. It looks like everybody is ready. Okay, now let's take a look at a story problem here. And our first step in solving this is to really think through what's happening in the problem. And we did not do this yesterday, but moving forward, I want you to really think through what the answer sentence is for the problem before you draw a bar model, because doing the answer sentence first is going to help you basically hone in on what are we trying to solve. Sahanasri, would you read problem 1 for us? And let's think through what we're trying to solve in this problem.
On Monday, Mr.
Wallet.
Okay. Mr. Wallet sells 424 movie tickets. On Tuesday, he sells twice as many tickets as on Monday. How many tickets does she sell on Tuesday?
Okay. Can you picture what's happening here, Sahanasri?
Yeah, Mr. Wallet has 424 movie tickets. And on Tuesday, she sells twice as many tickets as on Monday.
Very good. And what are we trying to solve?
How many tickets he sold on Tuesday?
How many tickets she sells on Tuesday. Very good. Now, Sahanasri, could you think of an answer sentence for that? Leaving a blank for what we're going to try to solve for.
How many, wait, let me think. He sells blank tickets on Tuesday.
Good. And it's a she. Mrs. means she. So Mrs. Wallet sells blank tickets on Tuesday. Very good, Sahanasri. Let's go ahead and write that answer sentence with a blank on our paper before we even solve it. Okay. Oops. Mrs. Wallet.
Miss Gardner, I don't know where my math notebook is.
Okay, can you write this in your binder? Sells blank tickets on Tuesday. Great job, Marcus and Dikshita. Great job, Aryansh and Tig. Arshav, it looks like you might not be writing this right now. Make sure that you're writing our answer sentence in your math notebook. Okay, so we don't know how many tickets she sold on Tuesday yet. That's what we're trying to solve for. Okay, so let's see. I haven't heard from Josiah about this. Josiah, would you unmute yourself and tell us what our bar model would look like for this problem? Let's take a look at it again. Can you unmute yourself and tell me what kind of bar model we need for this? Comparison or part whole?
Comparison?
Good. Twice as many tells that. Now, what are the things we're comparing? There are two things that are being compared.
The numbers are it's Monday and Tuesday.
Right. Monday and Tuesday. The tickets sold on Monday versus what's on Tuesday. So how do you think we should label this bar model? Like you said, we're comparing Monday and Tuesday.
We should put Monday's one like here, and then write Monday's one, and we should put Tuesday's one below it, and Tuesday's one has to be bigger.
Good. Now Monday is just, let's do 1 unit. Remember, we call this 1 unit. Do you remember how much she sold on Tuesday? How many times as many?
Twice.
Good, twice. So how many boxes or units will Tuesday have?
We'll have like what boxes?
So we call this 1 unit.
2.
Monday has 1 unit. Tuesday has
2.
2 units. Perfect.
2.
Now Monday should have how many tickets? How many tickets did she sell on Monday? What is it?
124.
Perfect. 424. And where does our question mark go?
And below that Tuesday.
Perfect. Below Tuesday. And how do we solve for the question mark? I'll have actually somebody new say this one. Alexander, how do we solve for the question mark in this problem?
All right. So there's 2 ways you could do it. You could do 424 plus 424, or the easy way is 424 times 2.
Perfect. You're correct. We could do it both ways, but this is easier and it's the practice that we want of multiplying.
So should I explain?
Yes, you can explain how to solve it now.
2 times 4 equals 8. 2 times 2 equals 4. And then 4 times 2, once again, is 8. So the answer we would get is 448. 848.
And you are just sitting back and relaxing because that was too easy for you.
Yeah. I like times.
I like it too. It's so simple.
too.
It's faster. And it works out especially more easily when we've got 3, 4, 5 times, maybe as many. Now, 848 is the answer, and we'll put it in 2 places next to the question mark and up here in the answer sentence. Okay, for the next one, I want to come up with another one for you to do on your own. You'll get about 5 minutes to do it on your own, and then we'll go over the answer. This is one I did with my class yesterday, my afternoon class. Because I've got some people in that class who are reading the Harry Potter books. Is anybody reading some Harry Potter, possibly for book report or just for fun? Yes, I know you've got some Harry Potter things in your room, Alexander. Okay, so this is for you. If we have the characters of Harry and Ron, and they collect some chocolate frog cards, that's what they're collecting. If we say that Ron has, I'll just write it down here, 5 times as many cards as Harry, and Harry has let's say 14 chocolate frog cards. So if Harry has 14 cards and Ron has 5 times as many, first of all, We're going to make up an answer sentence for this problem. Who can give me an answer sentence with a blank for the number that's going to go in it? Can you picture what's happening here? Harry has 14 collectible cards, and Ron has 5 times as many. Ariansh, what's the answer sentence going to be?
Ron has blank cards.
Perfect. Ron has blank cards. Okay, I want everyone to take a moment to make a model, a bar model for this information, trying to figure out how many cards Ron has. And hold it up as soon as you're done. So we know Ron has 5 times as many cards as Harry, and we know how many cards Harry has. Draw a model to show that information. Wow, Tig, that was record time, maybe a minute for the whole model. This is too easy for you as well. I need to get some harder problems. Wow, you guys are really fast with this. We might have time for one more. Sahanasri, are you already done? Okay. Hold up your model as soon as you're finished. We know Ron has 5 times as many cards as Harry, and Harry has 14 cards. Great job, Samhita and Rishith. Nice job, Sahanasri. Okay. Now, Marcus, what would the model look like for this problem? Can you tell me how to draw it?
Okay, so you would get 2 boxes. One has the
So first of all, let's think through, what are we comparing?
we are comparing the one has 5 times as many cards as Harry.
Yes, Ron has 5 times as many cards as Harry. So who's going to get the small, just 1 unit? Does Ron or Harry?
1 unit. Ron or Harry would be Ron.
Well, who has more cards?
Well, right now we don't know how many Ron has, but we know how many Harry has. So Harry.
That's right. We know how many Harry has. We don't know how many Ron has, but we do know it's 5 times as much. So whatever Ron has, it's going to be 5 boxes instead of his 1 box. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So how many boxes does Ron get? How many units?
He gets. not good at this.
Okay, remember that he has 5 times as many. So how many units does that mean for Ron? Yeah, 5. So what does each unit equal? Marcus, what does each unit equal?
14.
Perfect. And where does the question mark go?
The question mark would go, so you would draw your point under the 5 groups, and that's where you would add your question mark.
Excellent. And Harika, how do we solve for how many cards Ron has?
14 times 5.
Perfect. And tell us what the answer is.
20. 4 times 5 is 20, so you put the 0 on the bottom and the 2 on top. And 5 times 1 is 5. And adding the 5 to the 2, it's 7.
Perfect. So how many cards does Ron have?
So we have 70.
Excellent. Thumbs up if you got the exact same answer, including the same bar model. Now, Harry could be on top and Ron could be on the bottom. That doesn't matter. But you should have a model that looks like this, regardless of whether Harry is on top or bottom. That part doesn't matter. Great job, everybody. Now, class is about over. I want to go through the things that you've got on Bright Thinker, including a kind of different math setup than usual today. Our math chapter is pretty short, but we are extending each lesson to be about 2 days. So there's not many problems in the workbook. Today, you've got this worksheet with some bar models. And if you have access to a printer at home, you can print it out and do it that way, where you've got like a bar model given to you, and you just, when it says number sentence, that tells you, that's asking like, what are you going to multiply? So write 75 times whatever number. That's the number sentence. And then your final answer. Same with this, although this one is a part whole. Just write what you're going to do to solve it. For this one, you'll write your number sentence, but you also have to draw a model for this. And these two you'll have to draw models for and solve. And then we've got some review problems down here. An addition, a subtraction problem, and another little word problem. This one is not multiplication though. And then write the amount using dollar and cent notation. We haven't talked about this, but hopefully you know what 608 cents would be in dollars. Try your best on that one. We haven't covered that unit yet, though. So if you can print this off, that would be best. If you can't, this is what you can do. In your math notebook, just put number 1 and your answer, whatever you would have written in the blanks, write it on paper. Okay? Just on regular notebook paper in your math notebook. So that is your math homework for today. For well-ordered language, you've just got pages, a little quick pages of a lesson to enjoy. You do not need to turn this one in for a grade. It's just a little story going along with our pronoun review called Calico Pie, a little poem. Okay, so you can just read that and look for pronouns in the poem. I'm removing those cursive assignments as for a grade. You can do them if you want some extra cursive practice, but from now on, we're doing cursive together. For history today, you've got your Vikings test. So for the Vikings unit test, it's going to be really similar to that review yesterday, other than there was that one question I said I was going to take out. We've got vocabulary matching and several multiple choice questions that goes along completely with your review. Okay, should be pretty straightforward. For science today, just a minute, Josiah. I'll get to you in just a moment. For science today, you've got a little lesson on asteroids, comets, and meteoroids. You have a chart to fill in with Mrs. Campbell's video, and I've got these constellation pages that you can print off or draw your own version of these constellations to go in your notebook. Okay. And in literature, you've got a new chapter of Princess and the Goblin that I'll be reading aloud to you. And another McCall Crab assignment. You've got 5 to do throughout the week, and then I'll average all of those together for a grade. Okay, any questions about your assignments on Bright Thinker? Okay, guys, you are doing so well with these bar models. I am proud of you for doing so well with these multiplication bar models. It looks like you guys are having no problems with it. You can just do this so easily. So I think you're ready for the next challenge, which tomorrow is going to be when we have two-part problems. You guys are ready for a challenge, right? Good. Yes, Arianch?
So, other than the Vikings test and the spelling test, is there any other test this week?
No. For well-ordered language, we are doing a review and a test next week. And for science and literature, there's just a little checkpoint, just a quiz later on this week. Okay? But those tests, the only test is for history, and we've got some quizzes. And Friday is a mastery spelling test. Okay, I'll have just my reading group stay with me now. Marcus, Josiah, Alexander, and Rishith for today. I'll talk to everybody else later. Bye.
Bye, Miss
Email me if you've got questions about anything else. I've got to start reading groups, so just send me an email if you have other questions. Bye.
Miss Garner, can you
What is next week?
classes?
Is next week math testing?
Sweetheart, I said email me if you've got any other questions. Bye.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye. Just Marcus, Josiah, Alex, sweetheart, I said email me if you've got other questions. I need to start reading groups. Bye.
Bye, Miss Garner.
Bye, Deekshita. Okay, now we've got just our reading group. We're going to read a little more of Treasure Island. It's been a while. Okay, so what have we read about so far in Treasure Island?
Aren't we reading Wind of the Willows?
Oh, I'm sorry, Wind in the Willows. I was getting this confused with my Thursday group. Yes, Wind in the Willows, you're right.
I think it was where Badger wants to, like, go to see the open woods?
Yes, we heard about the open woods, and we're about to hear about Toad Hall. All right, so
Yep.
we're starting chapter 3. I'll have Josiah begin.
Ratty, said Moore, suddenly one bright summer morning. If you please, I would like to take me to meet Mr. Toad. Why, certainly, said Rat. He jumped up and put his poetry aside. Get the boat out, and we'll paddle up at once. It's never a bad time to call on Mr. Toad. He's always glad to see you, and he must see you, and always sad to see you go. He must be a nice animal, said Moore as he grabbed the oars. Rat settled in the stern and took hold of the oars. He is indeed so good natured, so caring, very affectionate, affectionate, perhaps not the most clever. We can't all be a genius, you know.
So how would you describe him based off of this, Mr. Toad?
He is not. A toad thinks he must be a nice animal.
He's nice? Yes. But is he smart? Not really. He says he's not a genius. We can't all be geniuses. Okay, so a nice person, nice toad, but not very smart. Okay, I'll have Alexander read next.
So, where do we start off? Started rowing or rat? Rat, okay. Rat smiled and started rowing, but a bit conceited.
You got it, conceited.
Okay. And boastful, but a good animal indeed. Rounding a bend in the river, they came in sight of a handsome, dignified old house with red bricks. The lawns were well kept and reached down to the water's edge. There's Toad's Hall, said Rat, and that's creek on the left. Sorry. Oh, to his house. That's where we leave the boat. The stables are there to the right. Straight ahead as the banquet hall. Toad is rather rich, you know. He has the nicest house in these parts. He stepped off the boat. Of course, I'd never tell that to Road. They headed up the bank and past the slug from the crossbeams. Some hauled up on a slip. None were in the water. It looked like no one had visited the boathouse in a very long time. So I get it, like hanging up the bank, because it's like he's rich and a bank has like lots of money, you know?
That's a good point. Maybe that is why they said the bank. I hadn't thought of that.
It's also a bank of water.
Yes, and do you know what a bank for water is?
It's like a bank's like somewhere like you go, like a riverbank kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of like a shore, like the beach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry,
you can.
but you're kind of breaking up, so sometimes when you talk, I can't really hear it all.
Okay, well, just try your best to keep going.
I think I'm supposed to go to the next page because I just finished it.
Thank you. Okay,
Right.
I'll have Marcus read next.
Okay, where were we?
The top of the page.
Rat said, "Now I understand. Toad's tired of boating. Get done with it, I wonder? What new fad he's taken up now? I suppose we'll find out soon enough." They came upon Toad resting a wicker chair with a large map spread out on his knees. "Hooray!" Toad cried, jumping to see them. This is splendid. He shook both their palms warmly, he never waiting for an introduction to Mole. "Well, I was just about to send the boat for you, Ratty. I am so lucky you both turned up now. Let's sit a bit, Toady," he said. Rat, throwing himself down in a chair, Mole sat beside him, and the and complimented Toad on his finest house on the whole river.
Boasted. I was looking at the wrong word.
Boasted Toad, or anywhere else for that matter. Rat nudged Mole and snickered. Toad saw it and laughed. "You know, it's just how I am, Ratty. It's my way to think highly of myself and my home, and you know that you agree."
Can you keep going a little bit more, Marcus?
"It's the finest house here. Anyway, I need you, Ratty, to help you row us, Rat. You still splash a great deal with the great patience, care, and some coaching."
Okay, I'll have now Rishith finish for us.
Boating. "Oh no, no boating," said Toad. "That's silly boy stuff. I've given that up long ago. Sheer waste of time. No, I discovered something much better." Toad led his friends to the stable. There they saw a caravan, a car on wheels drawn by a horse. It was shiny, new and painted, a color yellow and green. It had red wheels. "There you are," said Toad. "This is real life. The open road, the dusty highway, camps, villages, towns, and cities. Here today and off somewhere new tomorrow. Travel. The whole world before you. This is the finest car of its kind ever built without exception.
Good.
Come look at the arrangements. Planned them all myself."
So he is proud. What is his car like?
It had red wheels and it was driven by a horse and it was shiny, and the body of it was red and green and yellow.
Perfect. And that's what it looks like. He's so proud of it. Okay, I'll have you stop at the end of, like right before the picture.
Mole was very excited and interested. She followed Toad eagerly up the steps and into the cavern. Rat snorted. Rat snorted. He thrust his hands into his pockets